Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we need to talk about the craziness right now happening with the New York Rangers, mostly involving Tony DeAngelo and Alexandar Georgiev. Now, if you do not know already, Tony DeAngelo earlier today was placed on waivers for almost, at that point, a little bit of a sudden notice, almost for no reason it seemed like, until we got word that there was an altercation in the locker room between Tony DeAngelo and a player, and it has now been released that Alexandar Georgiev was a part of that. So, what are the details in this whole situation? What can we gather up to this point? And what really happened with the New York Rangers after their loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins? Watch till the end for all the info and all the breaking news, and hit that subscribe button if you're new. We have 70% of the people that are watching these videos that are not subscribed, so every bit helps. And if you want to watch more news content just like this one, when it breaks, that's the best way to do it. Thanks so much for the support, and let's get into this video. Now, as you can tell, I'm a little bit jittery today because there has been a lot going on. Now, again, Tony DeAngelo earlier today was placed on waivers almost for no reason whatsoever, and there wasn't really too much that was too suspicious at the start. And again, we ended up getting word that there was some kind of off-ice issue that really correlated to that event happening. And it seems like we finally have our answer to what actually happened in that night and in that locker room. Now, this whole event was after the New York Rangers lost versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, an OT loss. I think it was 5-4, and Sidney Crosby ended up getting the OT goal. And what ended up happening on that OT goal, which is very important, very crucial to the story, is what ended up happening. So what the Pittsburgh Penguins had the puck in the offensive zone. The puck was going to go right behind Alexandar Georgiev. Georgiev went to play it. There was some miscommunication with Tony DeAngelo, so Georgiev played up the rush. The Penguins played up the boards. The Penguins ended up getting the puck back, and then about 10 or 15 seconds later, Sidney Crosby ended up going right to the slot and scoring the OT winner and scoring the game-winning goal. And it all pretty much stemmed from that miscommunication. The Rangers had the puck, they had the possession, and just instantly gave it away. And there was obviously after that game some feistiness there with guys like Chris Kreider in their post-game interviews being really blunt and being very obviously traumatized by that whole experience. And you could see kind of the connection between Georgiev and DeAngelo, not even just with this event afterwards, but just in that shift, how they were miscommunicating and how they were frustrated with each other. It was just a blend of craziness, and of course the Pittsburgh Penguins ended up winning. But what ended up happening after that is most crucial to what we have here today and why Tony DeAngelo was cut. Because again, when it comes to Tony DeAngelo, he's not a bad player. Offensively, he's one of the better in the league, and I don't think should be on the waiver wire just in terms of pure skill. But what ended up happening after that game for the New York Rangers, after that loss versus the Penguins, apparently this is going to come from Rick Carpinello from The Athletic, New York Rangers guru, let's say. He ended up having a big story on exactly what happened after the Penguins game. And according to his sources, there was an altercation between DeAngelo and goaltender Alexandar Georgiev in the tunnel that leads to the Rangers locker room, and that our altercation was quickly broken up. Now, up to this point, there was allegedly a video that was out there that was not allowed to be shown, but we don't have any footage right now of what actually ended up happening, so we just got to go by what the words do say. And with Rick, of course, he's part of The Athletic. He lists 3 different sources, obviously not by name, but he says that 3 sources came back to him and had the exact same situation. So this has pretty much been confirmed to be the case, and what actually ended up happening here that led to Tony DeAngelo being waived by the New York Rangers. This was apparently the straw that broke the camel's back. And after all that Tony DeAngelo has done with the New York Rangers franchise, all he's done basically in his hockey career, it's surprising that it took this to actually put him on waivers, but it seemed like it was the last chance that Tony DeAngelo had to really make an impact, at least for New York, and he kind of just squandered that right after. Now, we don't know exactly if it was Alexandar Georgiev or Tony DeAngelo insinuating the fight, or whether it was DeAngelo or Georgiev that actually went against each other, or who ended up making the first move. All we know is that they had an altercation, they had a fight basically in the tunnel right right before the Rangers locker room, right before the headquarters, basically, and it was quickly broken up, of course, and Rangers teammates, I would expect, were pretty surprised by that whole situation. Now, again, I don't want to put any of the blame on either of these players here, because it seemed like both of them were kind of mad with each other and mad against each other at the same time. Both had, of course, that miscommunication that led to this whole altercation as well after the game. So I think it was probably, at least from what I'm guessing, probably a mix of both, and who knows who ended up making the first move. But we do know that there was a fight there, and that apparently for the New York Rangers management, that was really the last straw. That was it, and they had enough. And the waivers came for Tony DeAngelo. Who knows if he'll actually be claimed, but those are the situations. And yeah, Tony DeAngelo won't be a Ranger for much longer. Now, what makes this very interesting is it being Alexandar Georgiev who was a part of this whole thing, and obviously it makes sense with how that game ended up going, but when it was kind of announced or revealed, I guess, that Tony DeAngelo had a whole altercation with a Rangers teammate, I thought it would be Chris Kreider, personally, because he had like this whole 3-minute post-game interview. It was like super serious. You could tell something was a little bit off, at least with Kreider himself, and I thought that would kind of lead to maybe some altercation in the locker room, perhaps, but it was Alexandar Georgiev, which I think would be my second choice personally, because even though it was kind of a rumor that it was a big player, I'm not sure how big Georgiev is to the New York Rangers, he was certainly a major factor in that Penguins loss, and of course a major factor with that OT goal, gave it away, no communication with Tony DeAngelo, or at least no communication on Tony DeAngelo's side, which ended up, of course, leading to that eventual overtime winner. I think it makes a lot of sense that Georgiev was in that position, and again, we'll see who it actually is, but if I was Alexandar Georgiev and I had to play behind Tony DeAngelo's defense and Jack Johnson's defense all the time, I would not be a happy lad. I'll just say that right now, and I don't think Georgiev has been stellar this season either. I don't think either goaltender has been great this year, sadly, but you could see the frustration, it seemed like, finally boil over, and taking it to a fist fight or a fight is obviously a different story, but him getting frustrated, him getting sad with his situation, I'm not exactly too surprised, and Georgiev stepping up because of that, it's not something that I would have expected personally, but again, I'm not surprised whatsoever that somebody finally took some justice and went after Tony DeAngelo. Again, I don't think he should have been punched in the face or fought or whatever, but I think Tony DeAngelo kind of need to be waking up a little bit, and if he does go through waivers, if he does potentially get claimed, let's say, and he goes to a different team, I think stuff like this, I mean, who knows if it'll actually stop all these antics off the ice and all this stupid stuff, but I think he definitely needs a change of scenery, it seems like, but I think he should go to a team that will actually put him in his place and actually do the things that needs to happen, because Tony DeAngelo just has an off-ice situation. There's just too many distractions there, and on the ice too. I mean, this year he hasn't been great. Last year he was great offensively, but defensively there's some major problems there, but personally for the Rangers to go out and just put him on waivers was pretty surprising, but after hearing what ended up happening, it seemed like that was the final straw. And again, the straw that broke the camel's back, literally. It's been broken for a while, but they seem to finally notice it. Now, something that's really super interesting to note is that with Tony DeAngelo, it seems like his trade value was pretty much non-existent, at least for this year. And there was a lot of Rangers analysts that came out and said that the Rangers have been trying to trade Tony DeAngelo for like the last year, and that's been the case. I mean, I made like 2 trade rumor videos in the past that did feature DeAngelo, and there was a lot of speculation there about a potential move, especially with him being an RFA this past season and getting his 2-year deal. But it seemed like, especially with that 2-year deal, that with all the off-ice antics going on, it just didn't seem like any team wanted to really go after him. But with the waivers, it makes it a little bit more interesting. He would still have his contract if he were to be claimed, so I guess that would still be a problem for other teams, but it just didn't seem like there was much value on the market for him, and it didn't seem like the Rangers were going to get anything worthwhile. So I would assume that the Rangers, if they had a chance to get something major, they would have, but he ends up on the waiver wire, and we'll end up seeing what happens. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you guys, and this is just me personally. You can have your own thoughts, but I really do not like Tony DeAngelo that much. It kind of stems from just all the way back with all the controversy and all the off-ice crap that he's been through. I mean, in the OHL, with the suspensions of saying slurs against teammates, the suspensions of physical abuse against officials, I mean, it goes way back to his junior days, and it is still prevalent to this day, I would say, at least with his reputation. I think that's a reason why the Rangers couldn't trade him. It's not just because the player, it's also the off-ice issues, and you see that with some players around the league as well, but especially with DeAngelo. He's a player that does have value, I still think. As a power play quarterback, as an offensive D-man, he's pretty skilled, but sometimes he can get dusted. You saw that against Sebastian Aho, you saw that against Matthew Barzal, and it's just where your value wants to be. I think for the New York Rangers, they're one of the few teams that's not going to miss Tony DeAngelo too much because they already got a lot of offensive defensemen. I don't think they are absolutely needing one right now, and they just need more defense in general, and Tony DeAngelo really does not fit that right now. So as a waiver, I'm not really too bothered by it. We'll see if any team ends up claiming him or whatever it is, but personally, I would not. If I was a GM of the New York Rangers, I would say it's about time. They shouldn't have traded for him in the first place, but let's hope the distraction is finally over and they can finally move past this and get past all the craziness we've seen so far in this pretty disastrous start to the New York Rangers season. But that'll be it for today, guys. Hopefully you kind of enjoyed this discussion and news roundup. If you enjoyed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell if you've not already. Comment down below your whole thoughts on this crazy situation, this crazy drama, and this crazy altercation between Tony DeAngelo, Georgiev, and him being sent on waivers. What do you think about that as well? Make sure you share this video with your friends, get the info out there, and click on this card right here to watch all of my hockey prospect talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.